Do you remember when you were younger, everything seemed possible? Do you remember when you were younger and adults used to say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Do you remember? When I was younger, I used to dream that I was going to be this confident girl and I'd be on TV or I'd be on a stage. And I remember daydreaming that there'd be this huge applause and there was me. When I was younger, I used to love daydreaming. I love my daydreams. When I was 3 months old, I was adopted. Being mixed race, obviously, I was adopted by a white family in a white area. And to be honest, for many years, as far as I was concerned, in a completely white world. I didn't see any other black faces. As I was growing up, it was really quite hard for me. I didn't like being different. In fact, I remember trying to get this colour off me. I didn't like it. It was different. It's what made me different to everyone else. When my hair was wet, I loved it because it was all ringlety and lovely. But then when it would dry, it would just dry into this big, what I thought back then, this like big mess on my head. I remember actually I used to put this white sheet over my head and pretend that I had this like long blonde hair. I really longed for my birth mother when I was growing up. I just couldn't work out or understand why she gave me up. I mean, I was just a baby. I was just 3 months old. And for a very long time, I felt it must have been my fault. I must have done something wrong. How on earth and why would a woman give up a baby? If it wasn't down to me, I must have done something. So growing up, I felt very guilty. I felt very rejected. I felt ugly. I felt lonely. At the age of 12, I found out that my birth mother was dead. Needless to say, adolescence for me was horrendous. At 17 years old, I packed my bags and I left home. I left my parents, I left my home. But most importantly, I left myself behind. And this is the key thing I want to get across to you, because by leaving myself behind, I left myself with all that pain and all that hurt and all that guilt. And as adults, what we do is we move on in life. We just get on with our normal day-to-day lives. And we wonder why we have these feelings of guilt and pain. And it's because we've left them behind. We've left them here. And as years go by, we bury those feelings. We could bury them with addictions like alcohol, drinking, smoking, eating, even stealing, lying. We bury this pain with whatever we can to keep that pain down because it hurts so much. We don't want that in our adult life. Thankfully, I started to realise this about 10, 15 years ago. And I started to realise that actually that person that I left behind is a part of me. And actually, if you can start to make a peace and get to talk to that little you and let her or him know that actually everything's okay now. Give them a hug. Everything's all right now. You can start to visibly connect with yourself and everything can be okay. So if there's one thing I'd like you to take away home with you tonight, is just to know that by visibly connecting with who you are and who you once were, everything is possible. Your dreams can come true. Finally, my dream is right here on this stage, talking to you. And the applause that you give me is because I've reached out to you and I've helped you realise that your dreams can come true too. Thank you.